proportions stop. Shot! Scores! Coburg wins the RBC Cup!
This portion of the OJ Today is brought to you by Instat, the official analytics supplier to the OJHL. This is the OJ Today. What's going on, everybody? I'm Alex Bastyovanszky. Welcome to the OJHL studio. Great to see you again. We have got tons to cover on this week's show. The playoffs, of course, are in full swing, and this has been one of the most competitive seasons the league has had in recent memory. We kick things off today with round 2 coverage from the postseason and an absolutely epic series between Trenton and the Junior Canadians.
Wild in over the line, flutters it. We're not going home yet. Engine, number 9, Tyler Fukakusa nets it at the finish line. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness, it doesn't get any better than this!
Jaron Kligman with the legendary call on the OT goal. That won Game 5 for the JRCs, but in the series, Trenton had jumped out to a 3-0 lead over Toronto. The Canadians pulled off an epic comeback though, winning the next 3 contests to force Game 7 back at Scotiabank Pond. And the deciding game was an absolute classic. 1,000 fans jamming the rink as the team slugged it out. The Hawks draw first blood. Jordan Fuller managing to shovel it home out front to make it 1-0 for Trenton in the first period. The JRCs respond in the second though. Jordan Carafile down the wing and then out front to Josh Vogelsberg. He knots it up at 1 apiece. Not surprisingly, this one needed overtime to decide the series.
Van Wheelie tries to clear, diving down, Grube able to keep it in towards the net, they score. Sam Williamson will send it. The Trenton Golden Hawks are moving on. A date with the Dukes awaits.
Ecstasy for Trenton, agony for the Junior Canadians, who were the league's regular season champs and had Centennial Cup aspirations. This is a series that will go down as one of the best the league has ever seen. 5 of the 7 games were decided by 1 goal. 3 of the contests went to overtime. Unreal. Big things were expected of this series as well. 2 Halton region rivals going toe-to-toe. Burlington shot out to a 3-0 series lead. This is Game 4 back in Georgetown. Reese Chittenden opening the scoring for the home side in the first period. But the Cougars respond with 2 of their own. First, it's Jacob Bramwell. The seeing eye point shot that eludes Michael Kingo late in the frame. Lucas Di Giantommaso, hope I got that right, with 1 of the goals of the postseason, puts the Cats up by 1. They add a 3rd goal in the second, but the Raiders were not about to go quietly. Quinn Tavares tips it home to pull G-Town back to within 1. That's as close as they would get, though, as Burlington would add an empty netter late. Kudos to the Raiders on a great campaign. They are OJHL heavyweights once again, but the Cougars just were too much to handle in this one. They pull off a surprising series sweep, 4-0. How about another surprise? Halliburton and Wellington separated by just 3 points in the regular season, but Derek Smith's boys went on a tear against Halliburton, leading the series 2-0. This is Game 3 back in Wellington. Lucas Lapalme opening the scoring, and David Campbell adding to it just a minute later off the nifty feed from Jacob Vreugdenhil. And then Jacob himself would hit the back of the net. First he goes around it though, and then shovels it past Aiden Spooner. 8-0 was the final score in this game, as the Dukes would go on to pull a shocking sweep of the powerful Huskies. Another sweep back to the Northwest. Collingwood had shot out to a 3-0 series lead on Milton, and were looking to close it out in Game 4. Carter Deisman drawing first blood for the Blues on the power play. In the second, they extend their lead. Mark McIntosh, 8 points in 4 games in the series. Johnny on the spot bangs it home to put the Blues up by a deuce. On to the third, Robert Strachan at the point. Kaboom! The rocket that makes it 3-0 Collingwood. There was no stopping the Blues Wow, the Menace. They really captured the hearts of Milton residents. Great season, but Collingwood is looking virtually unbeatable right now. They also sweep their series 4-0. News and notes brought to you by Warrior, the official hard goods supplier to the OJHL. And a reminder to all aspiring players, the OJHL Combine is your chance to strut your stuff in front of all 23 OJ clubs. The 6th annual Combine is taking place from April 27th to the 30th at 16 Mile Sports Complex in Oakville. Head to ojhlcombines.ca to register for the event. This portion of the OJ Today is brought to you by NutriFarms, the title sponsor of the OJHL's Championship Series. So round 2 of the Buckland Cup playoffs produced one incredible series between the Golden Hawks and the Junior Canadians, and the other 3, not so much. The matchups were expected to be long, drawn-out affairs as well, but shockingly, that is not what transpired. Here's a look back now at the conference semifinals.
Long breakaway pass, here goes Chore, in alone, Chore scores!
The stands were packed, fans were pumped. The final 8 teams remaining in the playoffs were thought to be an evenly matched group, and several long series were expected. When it was all said and done though, shockingly, 3 of the 4 series ended up as 4-game sweeps.
The experts, Alex, were very hard pressed to have come up with 3 sweeps in that round 2 for sure. Everybody expected 6 or 7 game series. We got 1, 3 sweeps. But in all fairness, in the Georgetown-Burlington series and in the Halliburton-Wellington series, several of those games could have gone either way.
Let's start our look back with the one series that not only met but exceeded expectations. Trenton faced the OJHL's regular season top dogs, the Junior Canadians. No question, the JRCs were favored, but the Hawks shot out to a 3-0 series lead before Toronto mounted a furious comeback to force a deciding Game 7 back on their home ice. Ultimately, it was Trenton prevailing in dramatic fashion.
Driving down, Grube able to keep it in towards the net. They score. Sam Williamson will send it. The Trenton Golden Hawks are moving on.
Well, you know, Alex, the season that the Junior Canadians had this year, first overall, and getting behind 3-0 right away to Trenton, it was just something that most people could not see. And then, of course, the Canadians, game by game, started chipping away. And everybody was thinking, did Trenton miss that window of opportunity to finish this series off? Game 7 in Toronto. And again, either way, overtime. You couldn't have written a better script for that one. And Sam Williamson's goal gave Trenton the advancement in the next round.
The other matchup in the Southeast featured 2 squads separated by just 3 points in the regular season standings, Wellington and Halliburton. But the Dukes swept aside the Huskies in 4 straight contests, holding their high-powered offense to just 7 goals in 4 games.
Wellington is such a deep team, defensively and offensively. And I think they just wore down the Huskies.
Campbell, left circle, feeds out front, Mason sweeps, save, rebound, they score on the power play again. Matheson, Mason.
Lots of forechecking in that series, and now, of course, their arch rivals are just on the doorstep.
In the Northwest, Georgetown versus Burlington was expected to be another intense battle, and while most games were tight, Burlington just proved to be too much for Georgetown, with the Cougars also waltzing to a 4-game sweep.
Everybody was expecting 6 or 7 games, as you say, but Burlington this year is playing more disciplined hockey, very, very strong overall, and took their chances. And the goalkeeper, Zach Dietz, a money goalie, and it's not really about your goals against average in a lot of cases when you make the saves. At what point of the game you make the big saves and the team gets a little bit of enthusiasm going, and that makes a massive difference.
Collingwood faced Milton in the other Northwest series. Yes, the Blues had been the top team in the conference during the regular season, but every game the two teams had played up until the playoffs had been 1-goal affairs, so it was expected to be a tight series. Nope.
Deisman steals it. Now he's cutting it alone. Deisman and Silverman. There's a shot to score!
The Blues got out the brooms as well.
Collingwood ruled the roost, of course, in the conference in the regular season. Milton, they came out and played their best. They were just overmatched by a Collingwood team that is very, very deep, has, again, excellent goaltending. And as much as Milton were attacking, Collingwood had the answer for them. It was a good season for Milton, there's no question about that, but they came up against a real tough Blues team.
Okay, then here's a look at the playoff bracket as it currently stands through 2 rounds. Semifinals now, Collingwood taking on Burlington, Trenton and Wellington, 2 old school rivals to settle the Southeast and advance. And just a reminder to stay up to date with everything in the postseason, from the latest scores and schedule to awards winners, head to OJHL.ca. This portion of the OJ Today is brought to you by Hockey TV, the official webcaster of the Ontario Junior Hockey League. So this season saw a multitude of standout performances, from the first 100-point scorer in 5 years to a rookie goaltender that took the league by storm. Well, the best of the best have been handed their hardware as the OJHL recently announced its All-Stars and overall award winners.
Again, close to this one as Fukakusa brings it in. Oh, just like that. Engine, number 9, all aboard the Fukakusa line.
It was full steam ahead this season for Tyler Fukakusa. He headlines the list of OJHL first-team All-Stars that were recently announced. The RIT commit led the league in scoring, becoming the first player to notch 100 points in a season since 2018.
What can you say, Alex? Another dominant season for Fukakusa. Led the league in scoring for the second straight season. Most valuable player in the league. Led the Junior Canadians to the best record in the regular season. He's a great player. He reminds me a little bit like Paul Kariya. Has some speed, has some skill. Great player for this league, and he's really showcased his talents for the JRCs.
Jack Richard was a force of nature this season for the Burlington Cougars. The Niagara commit led the entire Canadian Junior Hockey League in goal scoring with 53 tallies.
Yeah, Jack Richard, what a player he is. 53 goals, led the league in scoring. Not just a scorer, he can also hit the body as well. A big body presence out there for Burlington. Saw him many times up close and personal. He can shoot the puck. He's always a threat to score, and if teams don't watch him, he's going to burn you, and he did many times this year. And Jack Richard, a great player for Burlington. A deep team are the Cougars, but Richard is their leader.
Reese Chittenden is your classic late bloomer whose decision to come to the OJHL paid off. He had his best season by far, finishing second in the league in points and securing a scholarship in the process to Bemidji State University.
Reese Chittenden, what a season he had in Georgetown, was second in points in the league, second in goals. A dominant player, really has started to rise all over the years. Got a scholarship to Bemidji State University. A big start for Georgetown this year. Even got a goal at the All-Star game. I see him up close and personal every game for Georgetown. What a sniper. What a treat he'll be for Bemidji State fans. And he was a great player for Georgetown. Led into a great season. Reese Chittenden, he's the real deal.
On defense, Julian Jacob of the Wellington Dukes made the list. The talented rearguard scored over a point per game while never neglecting his defensive responsibilities.
Julian Jacob was a great rearguard for the Wellington Dukes. Actually played on the other side of the rivalry with the Trenton Golden Knights last year. Came over to Wellington and was a power play quarterback for the Dukes. Very strong in the back end, deserved the All-Star, having a great season, playing alongside some veterans like David Campbell and Jacob Frugenhill, and Jacob just fit in nicely. Great defense for Wellington, and that's one of the reasons why the Dukes are doing so well in the OJHL right now.
Cooper Bertrand was a standout on a team of standouts. The Junior Canadians defenseman was a big reason as to why the JRCs had the best record in the OJHL's regular season.
Bertrand, just another rock on that JRC squad that was a top team all season. They had so many stars back there, but Bertrand had some big goals at some big times for the JRCs. Definitely earned the right to be a first-team All-Star. And one of the reasons why they're doing so well, and if they go far, will be because of Cooper Bertrand.
In goal, it was yet another Junior Canadian named as a first-team All-Star. James Norton, who made the jump from Junior B this season, was rock solid between the pipes.
Yeah, Norton shined this year for the JRCs. They had Chaz Nixon as well, a great 1-2 tandem in Toronto, but Norton had a lot of shutouts. He had a shutout streak there earlier in the season and showed why he is the #1 goalie for the Junior Canadians. A steady presence in net for Toronto to lead into the best record all season.
So there are your first-team All-Stars. Fukakusa, Richard, and Chittenden as forwards, Bertrand and Jacob on the blue line, and James Norton as goaltender. The second-team All-Stars were also announced. Matt Wild of the Junior Canadians, Ty Collins of Haliburton County, and George Krotiris of Coburg were the forwards. Crossley Stewart of Burlington and Austin Durazio of Trenton were the defensemen, and Noah Pack, the Yale commit, was second-team goalie. Other league award winners were also announced. At the time of this show's production, here are the ones that had been revealed. Of note, Milton's Jason Trifon was named Executive of the Year.
Jason Trifon revived hockey in Milton. He bought the team from Newmarket back in 2019, and since then they've been great. They have one of the best logos in not just junior hockey, but probably hockey in general with the Milton Menace. Great team on the ice, doesn't hurt as well. They've been getting big crowds in Milton. Hockey is back and alive and well in Milton, and Jason Trifon is a big reason for that.
Playoff leading scores now brought to you by Monkey Sports, the retailer of choice of the OJHL. And your top five, leading the way right now, Matt Cato from Trenton, followed by Thomas Lennart, his teammate Jack Richard, Matt Wild of the Junior Canadians, and Tyler Fukakusa to round out your top five. This portion of the OJ Today is brought to you by Troy Hockey, the official jersey of the Ontario Junior Hockey League. Okay, so we are down to the final four. Here once again is a look at your playoff bracket. Trenton faces Wellington in a juicy matchup of geographic rivals, and Collingwood faces Burlington in the Northwest. Let's start our preview of the conference finals with a look at the Southeast final between two of the OJHL's most dominant organizations over the past decade, Trenton and Wellington. This rivalry gets intense. Both teams have big fan bases and the rinks will be jammed.
Is there a more intense rivalry in the OJHL than the games between the Dukes and the Golden Hawks, Alex? They both have rabid supporters and they'll be in each other's rink, of course. There's going to be sellouts for every game because these two teams do not like each other.
Durazio, nice passing, and Cato finishes it off.
Matthew Cato is a great sniper. He's got 10 goals in the playoffs. He leads all players in playoffs. And but it's not just about Cato because it's again a very, as all of these four teams are, a very balanced squad, and they can take people out. They take the body very well. They can put anybody on the ice. That can be very, very difficult to stop. Jerome Dupont is an experienced coach. He knows what buttons to push with the players. It's going to be a series that those fans in that area, 30 kilometers apart, the rinks. So it's going to be a series that they're all going to look forward to.
The Dukes are led by David Campbell, their top scorer from the regular season with 72 points. But this is a team with depth throughout that's peaking at just the right time.
The Dukes are really, I wouldn't say surprised a lot of people, but they became stronger as the season went on. They've got balanced scoring.
Wellington still has a chance to win tight. They score. Luke Lapalme right in front of the net again.
Jacob Osborne has really come through for them in net in the playoffs, and they are just very, very difficult team to play against. Once they get a lead, they're very hard to beat, and if they do get behind, they just never give up. They're a great team in the forechecking. They're very strong, and this series, this Trenton-Wellington series, is going to be one very good team is going to be on the outside looking in, of course, after this.
The Northwest should be a fascinating battle between two squads trying to advance to their first ever OJHL Championship Series. Collingwood has been a big hit since relocating from Kingston in 2019, while Burlington hasn't won a title since they were a Junior B franchise all the way back in 1987.
I'll join the experts, Alex, and say that it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series, just like we did the last round. Seriously, though, I can't see a sweep in this series. The teams they played 5 times in the regular season, and each of those games was won by the home team. So you're looking at 2 very well balanced clubs, and I expect a 6 or 7 game series. Collingwood has got a strong, balanced attack. They've got a defense that likes to jump up in the attack, but they're very, very good on the blue line. And of course, they've got Noah Pack in goal.
And over the line now, in over is Gagne. Pass in front. What a save by Pack. Walker alone in front. Pack just slides over, takes that away.
Now, Noah's only let in 10 goals in the 8 playoff games. 1.25 goals against average. Scholarship for next year for him for Yale, and he is really going to make a difference. The Cougars are a much more disciplined team this year. They're led by Jack Richard, of course, their captain, and he's a game breaker.
He's already scored once, and just like that, Jack Richard top shelf.
Unfortunately, they won't have the jack of all trades forward Isaac Faccio. He suffered a career-ending injury in Georgetown on Saturday night. But they've got so much depth that it'll just mean more ice time for other forwards to pick up the slack. And looking at this series, Alex, too, Collingwood is going in on a 14-game winning streak. The Cougars have a 17-game winning streak. 31 games between the two teams. Something's got to give on Wednesday night. One of those streaks is going to be gone for sure.
So there you go. Trenton's looking to lift its first trophy since 2017, while for the Dukes, it's been since 2018. Burlington, 1987 was their last one. They are due, while the Blues are the new kids on the block in the league, but are looking like they might just be the front runners this year. This has the potential to be one of the best Final Fours the OJ has had in years. And that is going to wrap things up for this week's show. But just a reminder that all throughout the postseason, to stay up to date with everything that's going on in the OJHL, be sure to check out the league's official social media outlets. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.